Okay, welcome back, guys. We're doing a deck tech on the Emperor Palamecia for this week's match for Militia. What it is it's 2 mana, red and a blue, for a 2/2. It's got tap, add a blue, red, spins mana only has non-creature spell. And the sick thing about this, though, is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, which is a very interesting line of text.
Cast. Interesting word.
Oh, yeah, the mana spent to cast it.
Yeah.
We'll get to that soon. And you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then if 3 or more counters are on it, transform it. And then it transforms into the Lord Master of Hell. Edgy as hell.
Yeah, the new metal band.
Oh, man. And then, so whenever the Lord Master of Hell attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard. So instant sorcery, artifacts, all those kind of things. Now, it's going to be real great because I have a lot of ways to exploit that, and we'll show that starting with, let's go with removal first, just because it'll be easier to start with removal. And so we have a lot of ways here that don't exploit it, which is just good stuff. Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Galvanic Discharge, and Scred. Mm-hmm. The best for like deal damage spells. And then we got the fun ones, and a couple of board wipes. So the board wipes are Fiery Candidate and Breath Weapon, which will just deal 2 to everything except for very specific things that are generally not too relevant.
Yeah. You also talked in my deck that I have like sideboard cards in my main deck. You also have sideboard cards in your main deck, but you have like, what, 5 creatures or something?
Yeah.
And they all live through this, so it's like, whatever.
Yeah. And then with the fun ones, let's start with Firebolt. Just a shock at sorcery speed. Why it's here? Because you can flash it back for 5 mana, and I can also mill it over to do that. Mm-hmm. And then it'll trigger my commander. Mind Collapse could be free to deal 5 to a creature or player, or planeswalker, sorry. Or if I actually just hardcast her for 4, it triggers my commander.
Yeah, in our format, notably, that planeswalker text is flavor text. I don't think there are.
Yeah. But yeah, Magmatic Sinkle here. It can deal 5 to a creature or planeswalker. It has Delve, so if I really need to, I can play it for cheaper, but I would like to keep it at least 4 mana. Burst Lightning, same kind of thing. Got Kicker here, which will deal 2, or deal 4 if I kick it, which kicking does count. Mm-hmm. So it will trigger my commander. And then same for Tiered, because these were specifically made together. Yeah. And can deal a lot of damage, get through stuff, and easily just start triggering off of just being value.
Yeah, Scred is also a worth note card to explain, because like it is the best burn spell in our format by large.
Yeah.
But you have to play snow-covered lands. So it's like a budgetary restriction a lot of times.
Yeah, and also it means that you can't play as many non-basics as you might want.
That's also true.
Yeah. And then, so what we got next here...
That's why it wasn't in Cormello.
Yeah. Is our kind of soft removal spells, which all trigger Palamecia, which is Into the Royal 2 Electric Boogaloo, and Jilt, which is almost Into the Royal.
Yeah, almost. Harder to cast, but way cooler.
Yeah. Which that bounces a creature, then if you pay the kicker, it'll deal 2 to a creature. The end of the Royals are, if you kick them, you draw a card. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they're just bounce spells. But they're not land permanent, so that actually could end up being relevant. Mm-hmm. Well, Jilt is only creatures.
Gives you an answer for like an enchantment or something.
Yep. And they're all triggering our Emperor here.
Or an artifact or something.
Yep. Then, let's see here. We got our Counterspell Suite, which will be... These are going to be the weird ones first. Phantom Interference, Syncopate, Power Sync, Condescend, Logic Knot, and then the 2 normal ones in Counterspell and Lose Focus.
Yeah, so real quickly, Ethan, if you want to put up the original printing art of Power Sync, and I want the audience at home to read that, and then tell us what it says.
Yeah.
Because reading the card does not always explain the card if the card was printed in the 90s.
Yeah, because target spell is countered unless its caster spends X more mana. Caster of target spell must draw and spend all available mana from lands and mana pool until X is spent. He or she may also spend mana from other sources if desired. If this is not enough mana, target spell is still countered.
Draw and spend, my friends.
Yeah. What this actually says is counterless, the opponent pays X, and then if they don't, they got to tap out all their lands.
Yeah.
That easy.
Yeah.
Then we got the couple other easy X-based counterspells.
3 words, 6 paragraphs.
Yep. Because all of these counterspells here, and even including Loose Focus, if we get the ruling right, which is replicate counts free mana spent, even though it's copying.
We think.
If we're wrong, it's fine.
Put it in the... If you're a judge... Actually, if you're a judge...
Please tell us.
Please leave it in the comments so we can finally know, because Google was no help.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of commander decks running replicate cards, and they think it works, and it was like, we think it works.
We're going to play like it works.
But, yeah.
And then next week we'll apologize when it doesn't.
But yeah,
several weeks from now.
All these weird, nice counterspells that are basically mana leaks plus.
Yeah, and then the OG.
Yeah, OG counterspell. Good stuff.
And I'm assuming you're not playing things like Mana Leak or Daze because they don't cost 4.
Yep, exactly. So I played stuff.
So you want the best one, which is Counterspell at 2.
Yeah.
And then all the other stuff you want to be able to pay for.
Yeah. And then real quick here, we got our win cons that are outside of the commander because the commander is the biggest of the win cons.
It's like that.
Yeah. But we got Murmuring Mystic, Tolarian Terrier, Cryptic Serpent. I want to mill stuff into my yard to deal damage, so why don't I just put the stuff that already plays with that?
Yeah, and you're not like the fact that you just keep recurring this means that if you mill these, you don't care because this can still win the game.
Yeah. Big, cheap instant and sorcery guys, and then something that just wants me to casually play some instant and sorceries.
Yeah.
Easy.
Murmuring Mystic. Great card.
Yeah. Mumble, mystic. Then we got our card draw, which we got just some good ones here in Ponder, Brainstorm, Preordain, Augur Bolus. Because, as you just saw, 3 creatures and Augur Bolus.
One of the few decks where people who play this in Standard will refer to it as look at the bottom 3 cards of your library. Yeah. This shouldn't do that.
Yeah, shouldn't. Then we got Preordain, Ponder, best counter spells. We are playing Brainstorm, which is sometimes a little controversial because if you don't have like ways to cycle to change up the top of your deck, it can be just draw a card and then wait 2 turns and see the 2 cards you knew. But still, at worst, just draw a card.
Yeah. Well, at worst, it's time stretch targeting your opponent. You get 2 turns where you don't do anything. But I don't think that'll happen that often because you have like a bunch of cheap interactive
Well, and
spells.
to be fair, cantrip would do like just draw a single card, do nothing, would do the same thing. You just wouldn't know what those 2 cards are.
Yeah.
But then we got Thought Scour, Otherworldly Gaze, Mental Note, and Consider, which are the mill kind of cards that add on. So Otherworldly Gaze, I can fix the top card of my deck really nicely. Also has flashback if it ends up in my yard.
Works well with Brainstorm.
Yep. Thought Scour, Mental Note.
Yeah.
Same.
You have a lot of ways to like dig through Brainstorm.
Exactly.
So.
These are going to put more cards in my yard. Consider I get a little choice on it. Not too bad. And then what I have here are the big draw spells because these are the ones that can actually trigger my commander, which is Dreams of Laguna, Surveil 1, draw a card, but flashback for 4 mana. Mm-hmm. Which the nice thing about this is an instant. Mm-hmm. Not an instant, but similar stuff. Deep Analysis. On its front side, I can play it. And then on its front side. On its first mode, I can play it just naturally to trigger my commander. Mm-hmm. Or I can flash it back if it just ends up happening to be in my graveyard. Yep. Which it won't trigger my commander, but it's still good.
Draw 2 cards. Like,
yep.
You draw 4 off the spell. Is pretty good.
Yep. Then we got Behold the Multiverse at instant speed. We are never foretelling this because it's actively a non-bow.
I feel like most decks who play this don't foretell it.
Sometimes you might.
Like Vega might want to do it,
yeah.
But apart from that.
And then we got Hieroglyphic Illumination and Lorien Revealed.
No contact other plane.
No. That didn't feel it was necessary.
It's also terrible. But
yeah. Also, I just like that Hieroglyphic Illumination has the ability that I can just dump it out if I need to at 1 mana. Same for Lorien Revealed. That's also another way to shuffle my deck.
Yep.
And then, now I got for you the suite of weird cards that specifically synergize with my commander and are going to look weird. Which, one of them we'll have to wait until our sideboard to see the full meaning of it, which is Jailbreak Scheme, then First Day of Class, which is the one with the sideboard context, and Kick in the Door.
Yeah, often a combo card. You'll see this maybe in future videos where I might be using this with a Persist creature. You're not doing that.
Yeah, it just combos with my commander in a nice way, not in a full hard combo way.
Yeah.
Which, what these are all doing is they specifically say the text, put a +1/+1 counter on something, but are also just kind of fine by themselves. Because Jailbreak Scheme here, 1 blue is its initial, but it has Spree. 3, I can put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, can't be blocked this turn. Also good with the Tolarian Terrors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then it could also just be bounce an artifact or creature to the top of my opponent's deck, or bottom if they want that.
Which matters, you know.
Yeah, which is relevant enough.
Something.
Then we got Kick in the Door here, which is put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature. That creature gains haste until end of turn, can't be blocked by walls, and then I venture into the dungeon.
Do you have any other ways of venturing into the dungeon?
Not at all.
Okay, so this might come up in the gameplay, but I'm going to say it here. This is Scry 1.
Yeah, there is.
We've decided?
Yeah, there are 3 available dungeons. One of them says Scry 1 at the first level. The other one says both players lose 1 life, and then the last one says I gain 1 life.
Yeah.
So, hypothetically, gaining a life or having us both lose life could be relevant.
Yeah.
So if it comes up, I do have those options.
Yeah.
99% of the time, I'm going to choose Scry 1.
Yeah, we're not going to put the token into play, though.
Because I have no other way to forward myself into the dungeon.
That, yeah.
And then the last one, First Day of Class, put a +1/+1 counter on it in haste. But that just sounds like it's just worse than Kick in the Door. But Learn, I could also just discard a card to draw a card. Mm-hmm. But I also have a couple cards on my sideboard that I can tutor for, which actually at least one of them does synergize with my commander, and we will get to that when we get to the sideboard. Then lastly, we have my land suite, which will be pretty normal, so we'll go through it pretty fast. We got Ash Barrens to help with like the brainstorm and top deck like manipulation effects to cycle if I need it. Hidden Grotto and Conduit Pylons, which will mill over if I need them.
Rolled over from Akawali.
Yep, saw those in Ekawali as well. Then we got the 2 searchable lands off of Lorien Revealed, which are Molten Tributary and Volatile Fjord. Notably, Volatile Fjord is a snow land.
Helps with Scred.
And then we got Izzet Boiler Works, which I like just because it helps mean that you can have as much mana as you want while also not needing to draw an extra land.
It also helps smooth it out, right? Like you actually, like if you keep a 2-lander, you actually have 3 lands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's not terrible.
Then we got our snow-covered suites in a mix of way less mountains than islands, which is pretty standard for these kind of decks, because if you were looking earlier, we have an okay amount of red cards, but the vast majority is blue, and the blue cards are what draw us to the red cards. So if we get blue mana, we should be able to draw to red mana.
Yeah, the other thing is that, like, Replicate needs blue.
Yeah.
You can't cast Counterspell with a mountain.
Yep.
That's another thing. So what, 5 mountains and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9
Yep.
islands?
And then that's it for the mana base, not too crazy. And
different arts, thank you.
Yeah. And obviously they're snow-covered because we need the spread.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would be harder to kill stuff like an 8/8 from the command zone.
You have no other snow permanents other than your lands.
Yeah.
Which is common and, good.
Yep. And then got my sideboard here, which just gonna take a second on that. I didn't prepare it as well as I should have. So we got the standard Pyroblast and Red Ellie Blast here.
And? Do you have the other 2?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got
I was going to say.
Hydroblast and Blue Ellie Blast.
Yep.
Because I'm a red-blue deck. I need both of them.
Yep.
I need both sets.
Copy-paste what I said about Cormella here. Like, these are just, they're universal.
Yeah, if you have a perfect counterspell for 1 mana, you're going to play the perfect counterspell for 1 mana, so it's a low opportunity cost. Mm-hmm. Then we got the anti-commander suite and Witness Protection Unable to Scream, because if we have a commander that's too annoying to deal with that's so integral to their strategy, we want to be able to lock it down in a way that we'll just not have to worry about it being cast again.
And there are a bunch of these that you can play. You can play one at flash speed, you can play one, it's just, they're all pretty interchangeable with each other. I'm assuming you're playing these because these cost 1.
Yep, exactly. And then we have the suite of things that kill 1 health creatures if we were going, it's like go wide tokensy strategies or like just sort of like beatdowns, which is End the Festivity, Tectonic Hazard, and Electrickery, which we didn't see in some of the earlier matchups because it's not as aggressive, but here works a little nicer because you can cast at instant speed, so you can wait until they go for their attacks, so they maybe committed another haste creature. Yeah.
The other thing about sideboards, which is interesting about your main board, is a lot of people they'll play 2 of these effects, not the third one, because they want like a breath weapon, or they want like a fire cannon. They want a way to deal 2. But you're playing those in your main deck, so you get the room to play the 3 in the side, which is nice.
Okay, and then we got the anti-artifact package here, and Annul and Gorilla Shaman, which Annul will just... This can also counter enchantment if we're going up against anything that has annoying enchantments.
Like a background or something.
Yeah. But what it's mainly here for is just against artifact decks, I want to have ways that I can like stop them from doing their first thing, and then Gorilla Shaman is here to just kind of slowly eke away like artifact lands, anything like that as a value thing. Because I have a lot of ways to remove single things. Gorilla Shaman will sit here and just slowly chip away as I'm taking out single things.
And unlike Akawali and Torwaki, you can play the long game.
Yep.
You can get a bunch of lands into play and like, all right, Gorilla Shaman, your 2-drop.
Oh yeah, I'm a control deck with a combo finish. Yeah. And then got Tormod's Crypt as anti-graveyard.
Sure.
And then that just kind of says itself, so I'm going to skip past it. Then we have all the lessons I've learned. Which you actually...
Well, it is interesting about Tormod's Crypt, you're not playing Relic. So you value the 0 mana. Do you think those 2 cards are close?
I think they're comparable. I could have just thrown Relic in here. I didn't think about it as much.
I didn't know if there was like a specific reason behind it, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I just...
Copy-paste everything I've ever said about Relic of Progenitus to Tormod's Crypt. I like Relic a little bit more because it draws a card, but this has 0 mana activation cost.
Well, actually, I did just remember. The reason why I'm not playing Relic of Progenitus is I have a graveyard I want.
Oh, that's true.
Tormod's Crypt is one-sided.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
Checking that Relic of Progenitus wasn't. And it's not! So,
yeah.
That's fair.
Okay, then we have what our lessons are, which the main one that we want here is Expanded Anatomy, because it puts 2+1/+1 encounters on target creature. Which the awkward thing about it, though, is it doesn't cost 4 mana, so I'll get my commander up to the amount of +1/+1 encounters needs to flip, but then I still need to play a 4 mana spell.
Yeah.
But I can get my commander into a place where they can flip really easily off of 1 card by just going, put 1+1/+1 counter on it there, put 2+1/+1 counters on it here, it's at 3, next time I play a 4 mana spell, immediately flips.
Yeah.
And so if I get super late game, I can just like 9 mana, 10 mana, just be like, yeah, flip my commander in 1 turn, attack you.
Yeah.
Dead?
It's also worth noting that, this is not like Up the Beanstalk for people who are familiar with that card in Standard. It counts the mana that you spent to cast it.
Yeah.
So if you like Treasure Cruise for 1 blue, which is banned, but if you Treasure Cruise for 1 blue mana, it won't trigger your commander because you only spent 1 mana on it.
And then we got 2 side, like, we got 2 cards here that are more of just like a toolbox.
Yeah.
Which are,
Strixhaven limited special.
yeah, which are Introduction to Annihilation, to exile any non-land permanent, so that could be good. The main downside is that the controller will draw a card, so I could hypothetically do it to my own thing.
Yeah.
But
It's
probably
just
going to use it on theirs, its downside. But it's here just because I can search it if I need it.
And it's like an answer to literally anything.
Yep. And then we got Elemental Summoning, which creates a 4/4. Which sometimes you just need a body.
Yeah, sometimes you just play a control game and then you just kill people with a 4/4.
Yeah.
Like, it's not unreasonable.
Yeah, so...
It's a little unreasonable, but it's not too unreasonable.
Yep. And then that's it for, like, the weirdness of this. And I think Emperor Palamecia is sweet. It definitely is, like, close to some other decks of, like, actual Pauper, but, like, I like that it has its own twist of this weird caveat that'll make it look unique and feel unique.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think is kind of fun about, like, commanders like this. Is like, yeah, they want the bones of, like, a normal Pauper deck, but, like, you gotta add these, like, 7th, 8th cards that are weird and fun.
I said it in Carmella, you can't play 4 Talarian Terrors, 4 Gurmag Anglers, or whatever. You have to get creative. You know, you're playing Burst Lightning. It's like not a card. You know, and there are some questionable includes in decks sometimes, but it's like Jilt. Like, that would never...
But it's sick.
But it's awesome.
Yeah. And hypothetically, when Whoosh comes out in Spider-Man later, we can also play that.
Yeah.
AKA Into the Royal number 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the deck for Emperor Palamecia. We'll see you in the games later this week.